Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup. We're going to cover the series from this morning in the LPL and preview tomorrow's as the LPL playoffs go every day. In a couple days, we will have the return of the LCS, LCK, etc. I am not going to really comment on the CLG rumors only because, although I'm not doubting their authenticity, I do want to wait until it is official. I did touch on the TSM rumors a bit, so I will give CLG the same respect. So I'm an Optic fan. I said this last time, I'll say it again. I'm an Optic fan. That's the only team that I actually root for. They are not in League of Legends anymore, and the last iteration of Optic in League of Legends wasn't even really Optic. It was Immortals in an Optic costume. So, my personal bias, I would love the Green Wall to return. That's where it starts and where it ends. I see NRG as the rumored team. I do respect RNG. I respect NRG because NRG is the team that allowed Optic Hex to get Optic back. From my outside perspective and watching that whole situation unfold a couple of years ago. So with that in mind, I'm NRG, if they take CLG spot, I'm not going to be overly, disappointed that it wasn't Optic, I guess. But at the same time, that's the only team I want in the LCS, so then I actually have a rooting interest. Otherwise, I continue to be the unbiased content creator. Prediction, 297 and 141 on the year. I thought LNG would win this one. And it does beg the question. Now, luckily, JDG, now we're in a point where tomorrow's series actually has loser bracket implications. But LNG are out. LNG were 5th in the power rankings, which will be updated later today at 13-3. OMG 10-6 and 9th. OMG would win 3-1. Cream was my MVP. I thought Cream played a fabulous Silas and Akali in games 1 and game 4. That really decided those two games. His Yone, mixed results. Game 3, they lost. Abel, 21-7 and 27, 34% of damage for OMG led the way. Aki, 13-6 and 36 in the jungle. That is massive, given that he, in my opinion, and we had a discussion about this on the Discord this morning, I think he's their worst player, but some people think he's much better than that. LP, 13, 10, and 20, 33% of damage for LNG. The rookie showed up. I can't take anything away from him. I thought that, there were moments where you'd like more, but at the same time, he is a rookie. And LNG getting this far was not my expectation. Before the split, I had OMG in my top 25, but I also had LNG there. And so for these two teams to be duking it out in the playoffs, I'm not, overly shocked by it, but at the same time, LNG definitely played better than I thought. Tied for first in the standings. They played very well at times. But in this series, Tarzan was nowhere to be found. And you may think to yourself, okay, well, that means Aki's MVP. There's a jungle gap. I don't, so how do I articulate this? So there's, the two phrases, jungle diff, jungle gap. And I think people think they're the same, but I want to kind of, separate them for a second. And look at them for what they are. Jungle gap, in my opinion, is that Aki prevented Tarzan from doing what he wanted to do. But in my opinion, it was jungle diff. And it's kind of weird, and I think this is semantics, but at the same time, when I think of jungle diff, I think that one jungler did their job, the other did not, and there's a big difference between the two. Where, there wasn't, a skill gap, it was a, what the hell are you doing, Tarzan? You're doing nothing gap. He was nowhere to be found. Honestly, he played terrible. And I think that kind of cements his MVP status because Tarzan doesn't show up, they lose to OMG. Scout is not able to overcome that, which an MVP should be able to overcome that. It's a messy situation. Zika and top lane playing Malphite multiple games, putting them on bruiser matchups into Shanji, banning the Rumble. That doesn't make any sense. I understand Shanji is a good Rumble, but we got to let that fly. Let that go. He is not going to blind Rumble. So don't pick something like Malphite. The thing is, clearly they're banning the Rumble to put Zika on Malphite, but Zika, in my opinion, this split has not been a team fight carry top laner. He has been a split pusher. He goes on his own. Honestly, I might be wrong, but I think his KP was around 50%, if that. There were a couple top laners that didn't even reach 50%, and Zika might have been one of them. And I might be just talking out of my ass. A couple of them did, but I want to say he was one, and that's why his CS was so high. So they're changing the way they're playing in the playoffs by putting Zika on a Malphite or a Scion and putting him on like a team fight-oriented champion that's tanky instead of a carry-oriented champion, if you catch my drift. So I thought that was kind of odd. It did limit Shanji, though. It did make Shanji more of a bruiser player instead of a player that could branch out with his eccentric picks. Mid lane, Kareem, like I said, I thought he played a cracked Silas game, and his Akali in game 4 was massive. Not only that, there was actually a point in game 4 where you'd think he inted a bit, but actually he was able to get everybody to go into mid lane. Shanji had Kennen in that one, and he was able to ulti and kill everybody, and he has some very nice ultis in that game, and some people may attribute that to Shanji, and part of it is his success, but I thought Kareem baiting the team was massive in that one. Game 4, bot lane, the thing is, like, so LP goes Draven, and I look at his career, and that was actually his debut champion in the LPL in Season 11, because he played a few games in Season 11, didn't play in Season 12, and then played this past year, obviously. And he played against OMG, and he played Draven and won. And Draven, in my opinion, is a coin flip champion. I don't care who plays it. These people that want to, like, get on their knees for Hansama and stuff, like, in the end, Draven is pretty coin flip against an even team. Like, sure, you can play Draven against, I don't know, anyone's legend if you're LNG, or if you're G2, you can play it against XL, and you'll look really good. Good for you. Congratulations. But, like, when it's against an even team, honestly, I think Draven is coin flip. And this game 4 was decided by, like, 40 HP, because it might have been even less than that. LP flashed onto Abel, got him low, flashed onto him, and just barely didn't get the kill early on in laning phase. And that would have gotten the Draven started, and maybe the game is totally different in Game 4. Game 1, LNG actually threw, in my opinion. So, despite this being a 3-1, and Tarzan doing absolutely jack shit, it was closer than 3-1 would indicate. So, I mean, OMG continued to roll. They continued to roll. Despair was my coach of the split. It was between him and LNG's coach, which ended up being Poppy. And in the end, it was OMG winning today. Now, tomorrow, BLG and JDG. BLG 11th in the power rankings. JDG 2nd. JDG coming in at 13-3 off of a win against Ultra Prime to end the split. BLG coming off of a 3-0 sweep of Weibo in the playoffs. Week 1, they played the first series for both teams. JDG would win 2-1. Ruler was MVP because he got a penta, if you recall. Ruler went 21-6-23, 26% of damage, so a very even damage spread. And Elk did what he's done all split long. 13-9-21, 34% of damage. Elk has been I think he actually leads the LPL in damage dealt. Like, he is an absolute menace down there. This series is going to be something, because you look at it, you've got Bin and 369 in top lane. If you put 369, like, 369 has to have safe picks. And how are those safe picks going to work into what the composition is supposed to be, if you catch my drift? Like, JDG has to draft in a certain way that allows all these great all-star players to perform, and in doing so, somebody has to fall on the sword. And 369 has done that a lot this split. But going into Bin, can he fall on the sword? We'll see. His BLG with Tabe as coach, very good the last couple of series. Jungle, Sean and Kanavi. I mean, I don't lie. I like Kanavi a lot, so I'm going to give that to Kanavi. Mid lane, Knight and Yagao. Knight over Yagao. And then in bot lane, Ruler and Missing against Elk and On. I would like to give it to Ruler and Missing, but Elk has performed exceptionally. Ruler is still outright better than Elk, but how they're playing right now, Elk is coming off of a very good series. What, he went 28-1 or something? Like, absolutely smoked light and crisp. And we have to think about it. JDG haven't played in a couple weeks, and I do believe LNG suffered from that a little. Tarzan coming out flat. Maybe that's why he struggled. And at the same time, PLG are riding some confidence right now. Luckily, JDG fall into a loser bracket if they lose in this situation, but I do think that is a factor. So, that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Later today, my power rankings will come out. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and thank you for watching.